Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, welcome to the University of North Georgia's Boar's Head Brigade Fall 2024 Commissioning and Recognition Ceremony. Today, we will commission the Army's newest officers and recognize our newest leaders. 17 cadets will commission as second lieutenants in the United States Army, and 6 cadets will be recognized for completing the UNG Corps Cadets National Service Leadership Track, or NSLT. Today's official party includes the President of the University of North Georgia, Dr. Michael Shannon, the Senior Vice President and Superintendent of the Cadet Leadership Academy, Lieutenant General James Terry, U.S. Army retired, the Deputy Commanding General of Operations for the 82nd Airborne Division, Brigadier General Jason Williams, the Professor of Military Science, Colonel Ed Bankston, the Chief of Military Science Instructor, Sergeant Major Elijah Kuhn, and the Deputy Commandant of Cadets, Lieutenant Colonel James Thomason, U.S. Army retired. We would also like to recognize the presence of our faculty and thank them for their support of this ceremony, as well as their support for our cadets throughout their scholastic journey. Please rise for the presentation of the colors by our UNG Corps Cadets Color Guard, led by Cadet Benjamin Anderson, and please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and invocation offered by Chaplain Garrett Cardenet.
Please bow your heads with me in prayer. Dear Father in heaven, we gather today in gratitude and celebration of these cadets. We thank thee for their dedication, discipline, and commitment to serve with honor and courage. Lord, bless them as they take on the mantle of leadership, guide their decisions with wisdom, humility, and integrity. Lord, we ask for thy protection over them as they step into roles that demand strength and sacrifice. May they always be guided by principles of justice, compassion, and the greater good. Bless their families and loved ones who stand beside them in unwavering support. And as they begin this new chapter, may thy presence be their anchor and may they carry out their duties with excellence and faithfulness. In thy holy name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. As one of only 6 senior military colleges in the nation, the University of North Georgia is unique, innovative, and legacy-producing institution. It is the Army Senior Military College. Since 1873, the Corps of Cadets, known as the Boar's Head Brigade, has developed leaders of character. These leaders go on to serve in the U.S. Army, other military services, and civic organizations for the good of the nation and the communities they serve. Cadets have 2 leadership development paths to pursue as students. The Reserve Officer Training Corps, or ROTC option, provides the opportunity to earn a commission in the United States Army. The National Service Leadership Track, or NSLT, is focused on preparing leaders of character for civilian careers in business, federal, or state organizations. Today, with more than 640 cadets in the Boar's Head Brigade, we celebrate the select few before us who have completed their rigorous adventure and will continue their path to excellence as Army officers or future leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Michael Shannon, the President of the University of North Georgia.
Well, good evening and welcome. Is everybody warmed up good? You doing all right? It's a little chilly out, isn't it? Well, welcome to the most beautiful place on earth. Have you been in the square yet? All right, you need to get out there and take some, all the spouses, I'm giving you some advice. Go out into the square and enjoy. Well, we're honored to have you here on our amazing campus and here in our beautiful town that we believe is the most beautiful place on earth. And most importantly, we are honored to have you here at the most unique, the most differentiated officer development institution in America. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no other institution in America that does what we do. We build Army officers and national service leaders in one model, and it's a mixed model where students come and there are cadets in our Corps and there are also traditional college students. And ladies and gentlemen, there is no university in America like us. And so welcome to an incredibly special place, the Military College of Georgia and the Army Senior Military College. And so tonight we're here to honor all of your young people here who have taken the path less traveled. And General Terry and I talk on a regular basis about this path. And I share with many audiences that I get the privilege to speak to that only 6% of Americans today have served at all. So think about that. The entire population of the United States, 6% of our population, have served at all. And as you start to then focus down the percentages who have served in our Army, and then the percentages who have become officers in our Army are incredibly small. And so these young people today represent something incredibly, incredibly unique. They are the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Young people who have the guts to say, I'll do it. No matter what it takes, I'll do it. And it starts with coming here for 4 years. And I got a great deal for you. Let's go to college and have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning in Dahlonega, Georgia, which, by the way, tonight's a warm night here. Ask the chaplain from the RTB. By the way, chaplain, we're really privileged to have you here tonight. If you don't know, this is our chaplain from our 5th Ranger Training Battalion. So chaplain, thank you for being here. But the chaplain will tell you, tonight's a warm night. But I got a great deal for you. Come to college and get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And oh, by the way, on the weekends when your friends are going other places, you'll have to go to training. And oh, by the way, you'll do this for 4 years. That's the path that these young people have taken. And they've all taken the same path. And some are going to continue that path as leaders in our Army. And I am incredibly proud of that. And I want you to know that we are privileged to have had the opportunity to be a part of their journey. And no one, listen to me, you guys, no one will ever take away this experience. Nobody can ever take it away from you. You will have it for the rest of your life. And remember it. Remember where you came from. I would like to recognize some of my teammates out here, and I see them in the middle. Y'all are hiding out there in the middle. I see y'all. See, I know you're all out there. With our leadership team, I know you don't want to do this, but I'm going to make you. Will you just stand and let everybody recognize you right now? My leadership team, stand up, please. Will you give them a hand, folks? Thank you all. And we could introduce them all. They're all important. You know what's different, though, ladies and gentlemen? Not a single one of them has ever served in our Army. But they bring the mission and work of the University of North Georgia, the Army Senior Military College, to life every day. And they support this Cadet Leadership Academy. And every single one of them, if you talk to them to a person, will tell you there is no more important mission that we do here. We do a lot of important things here, and this one is incredibly important to us. It's who we are, and it's who we've been, and it's who we'll always be for 151 years, developing leaders. And ladies and gentlemen, I think you would all agree our world and our country need leaders now more than ever. Can we all agree on that? Absolutely. So I'm incredibly honored to have you all here. Thank you for the opportunity you've allowed us and our team and the Cadet Leadership Academy. We have all had to influence your loved ones here. And thank you for the opportunity to make you a part of our family. And we'll talk about this more tomorrow. You will always be a part of our family. You are always welcome here. This is home. And somebody who embodies this is our guest speaker. And I'm incredibly privileged to introduce this American patriot, not only as an alum, but as a personal friend. And I'm going to start backwards. The problem with bios is they're always in the wrong order. Now you can read this, and you all have this, right? I know you've already read it, because when you get bored at a program, you start reading, right? You could see all the incredible things that General Williams has done. But first and foremost, he will tell you, and I know because I know him personally, and he is my friend, the most important thing to him in his life is his family. And he is married to an amazing lady, Shelley, who also was a student here with him and kept him straight, by the way. And actually wasn't able to finish because she left with Jason to go on to the Army. Now, she did go to another school, and we won't make fun of that right now. But we had the privilege of conferring an honorary alumni status onto Shelley this spring, and it was a privilege. And the other thing that Jason is he's an incredible father to 3 amazing young ladies who are all adult college-aged women, and I have gotten to know each one of them, and they are awesome, awesome young ladies. Annalie, Emma Kate, and Carolyn, just incredible young ladies. And then his other really big passion, he has this little dog. It's not really a little dog, Jason. It's really a cool dog. But that's his stress relief. And then you can go all the way back and you can read his bio, but what I will tell you is his journey as a leader started right here. It started right here back almost 30 years ago, right here in this place. And when he left here in 1998, he was just like all of them. Just a knucklehead with a lieutenant bar. And you can read of his accomplishments, and he's going to come share with you his journey. But to the cadets, you all have the exact same opportunity General Williams had, and he will tell you that. And to the moms and dads and family members, know that your young people have such opportunity in our Army to be anything. Matter of fact, to be all they can be. So ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce you my dear friend, an alum, a brigadier general in our Army, serving in one of the finest units in our Army. I'm a little biased. I spent a lot of time in the 82nd Airborne Division as well. Ladies and gentlemen, would you give a warm North Georgia welcome to Brigadier General Jason Williams.
Sir, thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it. I appreciate you mentioned my wife. Shelley is my everything. He mentioned that we went to college together. That is very true. If not for her, I would still be a cadet here trying to find my way to graduation. Yeah, y'all think I'm joking about that, but I am not joking about that. He also mentioned my dog. I've got a hunting machine. She loves to duck hunt and upland bird. If any of y'all know any good places, I'll be out here later on. We can talk about that as well. I'm glad y'all are here. When I walked in the door a minute ago, cadet said, "Sir, welcome to North Georgia." And I said, "It's good to be home." I'm a kid from Douglasville. Always knew I wanted to be in the service. My dad had been enlisted in Vietnam. I told him one day, I'll never forget it. He was walking through the house, he worked on old cars, and he was going to restore. He was rebuilding the carburetor on this 1951 Ford pickup truck he was restoring. He was walking through the house, and I said, "Daddy, I want to be in the service." And he said, "Be an officer." And I said, "Okay." I was 10. I didn't know what it meant. But like I said, he'd been enlisted in Vietnam, and as I got into middle school and high school, I figured out it meant I had to go to college. And so I was like, okay. And so I started looking at college, and I was going to go to the Citadel for a long time and play baseball. My dad wanted me to go to North Georgia, so did my mom. And they would, it's like parents do. I'm a parent of college kids, so I know how it goes. You kind of pepper this idea every now and then, but not too much, because you don't want to push them away. He wanted me to do it, but I had to choose it on my own. And really late in my senior year, I decided I don't know if I want to be on a boat. I think maybe I want to be in the Army, because it thought for a while I was going to be in the Navy. And so I tell him one night, I said, "I think I want to be in the Army, and I think I'm going to enlist in the Guard, and I think we should go to visit North Georgia." And so the next day, he has me make an appointment to go see the head Army recruiter in Atlanta, this major. And we go down to see him, and walk in his office. He's got all the Citadel stuff all over the office, and I think got him. He's going to start talking about the Citadel. My dad's going to see it, and it locked in, right? Nope. We walk in there, and the guy says, "What do you want to do, son?" And I said, "I want to be an Army officer." And he said, "You want to be an Army officer?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He goes, "You shut that door." And so I got up and walked over, shut the door to his office, and I came back, sat down, and he said, "If you want to be an Army officer, you go to North Georgia. This is the best Army program in the country, and if the Citadel heard me say that, they'd take my ring." My dad's over here beaming, I said, "Okay." Next day we came up here. The next day I applied. Here we are. This is the best school on the planet. It's the best school on the planet. The president said, "No one will ever take that away from you." That's true. You earned it. Really, really well done. President Shannon, Dr. General Terry, thank you very much. Faculty and staff, thank you all for being here. Your presence is especially meaningful. We thank you for your unwavering support of the Corps Cadets. Completing 4 years here at this school, that's a milestone event. You should be deservedly proud of that. Like I said, you earned it. I remember the day I commissioned very well. Back then, we commissioned either on the drill field or over here in Hogue Hall. There's a little auditorium up there. And the day I commissioned in '98, it was raining, so we went in Hogue Hall, this little auditorium, and commissioned in there. And afterwards, we went up to the great room. If y'all been up there, it's a little room, it's wood panel, and looks exactly like you think a great room would look like. And I got promoted in there, commissioned in there by Major General Gerard, who was a captain at the time. General Gerard's class 88. He was a captain here. My wife used to babysit his kids when they were 2, 4, and 6, and they're all 30, 32, and 34, or something like that now. But we were up there, and the thing I remember about that day was not who spoke or what they said. I don't remember who it was. I remembered you. I remembered my family and friends that were there. That'll be the same way for you. My parents were there. My brothers were there. My fiance, who's now my wife of nearly 26 years, was there. My grandparents, my wife's parents. That was what was special about it, right? That's what was special about it. I want y'all to remember that as this goes on. I know this has a real stuffy kind of feel to it because it's this military ceremony, but I want you to be a part of it and share this experience with your cadet. Growing up, my dad always pushed me to be better. If I came home with a report card that said I had 4 A's and 3 B's, he'd say, "What happened with those 3 B's?" Or if I came home from a baseball game and said I'd gone 3 for 4, he'd say, "What happened in that 4th at bat?" That's just the way he was, right? And it drove me to be better. It made me want to be better. Some folks don't like that environment. I liked it. It made me try very, very hard. At least from an athletic perspective, it didn't really move the needle for me academically. I didn't really care about that part of it. But I loved playing baseball. The day I commissioned, we walked across the stage. We shook all those guys' hands, and the thing I remember about it was my turn to walk off the stage. That was my dad standing there. That day, he didn't ask me about when I was going to get promoted to first lieutenant. None of that. He just shook my hand and gave me a hug, right? Y'all share this moment with your cadet. I promise it'll mean the world to them. I didn't see that coming. For the commissionees, being a commissioned officer is not easy. It comes with extraordinary responsibilities. Responsibilities for your soldiers, for your unit, for the mission. That said, you're ready. Everything you need to know to get started, you learn right here in North Georgia. No other school does a better job preparing you. In fact, this is serious as a train wreck. An hour ago, while I was getting dressed, I snapped the leather lace of my boot. After an expletive that I can't say here, because there's people here, I remembered that when I was in Colombo, I learned how to tie a square knot. And so I tied a square knot, fixed my boot, and here I am. Everything you need to know, you know right now. You're ready to go. If you'll bear with me, I'd like to offer you some advice that I think is going to serve you well as you step off on your adventure. Candidly, these are my thoughts and perspectives developed over the last 30 years. They are not the official position of the Army. I am self-aware enough to know that my perspectives are just that, and they may be different than yours or somebody else's. So I'd appreciate it if you indulge me. I'm going to be really candid with you while I talk, so you be listening. First, you must be professional. While you were here, you learned a lot. You learned how to wear your uniform, how to interact with people who's senior to you, folks who are junior to you, and what to do at reveille and retreat, all that kind of stuff, right? While all that seems like small stuff, it's important because the people in your unit are going to notice if you do it wrong. There's all kinds of stereotypes about second lieutenants, and most of them are not good. Do not validate them. As you consider professionalism, and this is true for all of you, whether you're commissioned or not, choosing the hard right over the easy wrong, that's the most important thing. While everyone in your platoon, or everyone at your new jobs will be more experienced than you, none of them are senior to you. You were the leader. Don't you ever forget it. You're going to face a moral and ethical dilemma early on. Make sure you choose the hard right. The moment you allow yourself to operate in the gray area, you have debased yourself, and it will become very difficult for you to enforce standards and lead later. Lieutenants and young leaders frequently struggle with what I call likership instead of leadership. Out of a desire for their soldiers to like them, they'll allow their troops to call them by their first name, or they'll go out with their NCOs on Friday night. Don't do it. You're the leader. When the night comes in combat and you order one of your soldiers to do what has to be done, you cannot have them turn to you and say, "I don't think so, Jim." The bravest thing I ever saw somebody do in combat, they did because I told them to. On the 30th of March, 2006, I was in a convoy near the Balad Market in Iraq when we were ambushed from both sides of the road and a bridge above us. The soldier behind me was severely wounded and had become separated from us. When I realized that, I told my driver to go back, and then I told the soldiers in my vehicle to cover me because I was going to go recover the wounded soldier. As I stepped out of the vehicle, Private First Class Abel was sitting behind me. He said, "You want me to go with you, sir?" My initial instinct was to say no, because I did not want to put him in that situation. However, after thinking about it for a moment, I knew I could use his help. So I told him yes, grabbed the aid and litter bag, and then I got out of the vehicle and went for the wounded soldier. Now, I think it's important for you to know, Abel was only sitting behind me because the night before this happened, his vehicle had been destroyed by an IED. During that incident, the IED went off between our vehicles. We were passing each other, going north and south. IED went off in between us, destroyed his vehicle, and I went back to get him. When I got there, he was sitting in his driver's seat with a cigarette in his mouth, dangling from it. He was clearly stunned. I said, "You all right?" He said, "I'm good, sir." So he gets in my vehicle. He lost his ride. He got in my vehicle, rode with me for the rest of the week. that night of the ambush, what I meant to say to Abel was grab the combat lifesaver bag, which was sitting right behind him. It was, if you know anything about a Humvee, there's a space behind the seat. It's right there behind his head. That's what I meant. But what I said was the Aiden litter bag. Abel heard the word litter, and because he believed his captain told him to, he climbed up on the back of the Humvee in the midst of that ambush, pulled out his knife, cut the litter off the back of the vehicle, and made his way to me and the wounded soldier. There's a lot more to this story, but to protect myself from myself, I'm going to end it right there. In the end, we saved the life of Specialist Bradley Hayes. Neither Abel or I had ever met him before that night. Abel did what he did that night because he respected and he trusted me. I was his captain. I was his commander. And we had trained hard together. That night, I did what I did because it was my duty. He did what he did because he was not going to let me down. He knew what had to be done, and he did it. I assure you, your soldiers want to be led. They will respect and trust you when you hold them and yourself to the standard. Lead by example. In addition to being professional, you must also be tough, mentally and physically tough. Every day will not go your way. You must be able to maintain your composure and bounce back the next day. The people around you, including your leaders, they're not interested in your excuses or your apologies. There's no dwell time. You just got to move on. Move on to new mistakes. You must have the mental toughness to lead through adversity. Like I said before, you're the leader. Your organization needs you to lead. If you allow yourself to lose your composure, shut down, or otherwise fall apart, your troops will know it, and it'll impact the way they see and respect you. We are all always making our reputation, especially when we're first starting out. What do you want your reputation to be? For all you new Army officers, related to mental toughness is physical toughness. I'm going to be very honest with you. No one's going to tell you this outside this room, I promise. But I'm telling you the truth. You're an officer. You will have to play hurt. And what I mean is everybody has some kind of ailment. When you get old like me, they're worse and they're more persistent. But that's all part of it. That's all part of it. You cannot let yourself get laid up and unable to participate because you're hurt. Fight through it. Similarly, and again, I'm telling you true. As an officer, you will be expected to be extraordinarily physically fit. Full candor. If you don't have at least a 580 on your ACFT, I don't want to hear it. Nobody does. If you're not sitting there right now with at least a 580, you better get there. You better dedicate yourself to it at OBC, at Bullet. That's what that's what they expect of you. That's what all the other officers are going to have. That's what you got to be too. Can't lead if you can't keep up. Lastly, you're a North Georgia officer and graduate. We have a fantastic reputation because of those who came before you. General Terry, a legend. Colonel Bankston, warrior without peer. You got a whole bunch to live up to. Matters to guys like me. Matters to guys like them. Every time someone asks you where you went to school, I hope you have a feeling of pride as you say North Georgia. Even I do, 30 years later. When someone says, where'd you go to school? I can't wait to say North Georgia. People you say it to, they know what it means. Every time something happens to me, it happened to me earlier this week. Someone said, sir, where'd you go to school? And I said, North Georgia. Oh, I went to Ranger School with somebody who went to North Georgia. He was awesome. Or you'll hear somebody say, oh, my first commander went to North Georgia. Best commander I ever had. He was a good dude. Like I said, now you're a North Georgia officer. You're a North Georgia grad, and you have to live up to it. It's kind of like graduating from Ranger School. The hardest thing about Ranger School is the day after, because now you got to live up to that tab every day. Now you got to live up to being a North Georgia grad every day. Make sure it drives you every morning when you get up. Every time you think about where you went to school, make sure it drives you. Thank y'all so much for letting me be here tonight. One day, 26 years from now, one of you's going to be standing here, and you'll know exactly how I feel. This place is extra special to me. I came here with a foundation built by my folks and my coaches, but this school made me who I am. It means the world to me to be here tonight. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all share this with your cadets. Thank y'all very much.
We will first publish the recognition order and pin our NSLT graduates. NSLT graduates, post. Attention to orders. To recognize cadets who completed the National Service Leadership Track, the President of the University of North Georgia and the Commandant of Cadets has reposed special trust and confidence in your patriotism, fidelity, and professional abilities. In view of these qualities and their demonstrated potential for increased responsibility and leadership, they are recognized as graduates of University of North Georgia Corps Cadets National Service Leadership Track. They will transition to leaders in the civilian sector and leverage their talents, skills, and the leadership learned in the Boar's Head Brigade to improve our communities and our nation. Family and friends, at this time, please secure those NSLT graduate pins and pin your graduates. Please give them a round of applause. NSLT graduates, post. We will now publish the promotion order and pin our commissioning cadets. Commissioning cadets, post. Attention to orders. The President of the United States has reposed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and professional abilities of the commissioning cadets. In view of these qualities and their demonstrated potential for increased responsibility, they are therefore promoted in the United States Army to the rank of Second Lieutenant, effective 6 December 2024, by order of the Secretary of the Army, signed Christine E. Wormuth. Family and friends, at this time, please secure those golden bars of officership and pin your officers. Please give them a round of applause. We will now administer the oath of office to the Army's newest second lieutenants. The oath we hear today is very similar to the oaths taken by all American officers since 1776. The wording has evolved slightly over time, however, the vow to support and defend the Constitution remains sacred and the same. Under Title 10, United States Code, the President, Vice President, Secretary of Defense, or any commissioned officer, active or retired, may administer the oath of office to officers. Today, the oath will be administered by one of UNG's newest general officers, our guest speaker, Brigadier General Williams. Would all uniformed service members and cadets in the audience please stand?
In the Army of the United States. And the grade of second lieutenant. Do solemnly swear. Support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. And I bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation. Or purpose of evasion. And I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Second lieutenants, post. We will now present a Boar's Head Brigade coin to our graduates. Beginning with the graduates of the National Service Leadership Track, Mr. Osman M. Abbas, graduating with a degree in cybersecurity. Mr. James O. Booker, graduating with a degree in cybersecurity. Miss Amanda L. Murray, graduating with a degree in communications. Mr. Matthew M. Perino, graduating with a degree in cybersecurity. Ms. Zoe R. Ruiz, graduating with a degree in political science, concentrating in pre-law. Mr. Spencer H. Schwach, graduating with a degree in cybersecurity. Please give a round of applause to our National Service Leadership Track graduates. We will now present coins to the newly commissioned officers of the United States Army. Second Lieutenant Dylan P. Green, Distinguished Military Graduate and Distinguished Military Student, serving active duty as a Military Intelligence Officer. Second Lieutenant Paul A. King, Distinguished Military Graduate and Distinguished Military Student, serving in the National Guard as a Quartermaster Officer. Second Lieutenant Lawson J. Willard, Distinguished Military Graduate and Distinguished Military Student, serving in the National Guard as an Infantry Officer. Second Lieutenant Derek J. Roach, Distinguished Military Graduate, serving in the National Guard as a Military Police Officer. Second Lieutenant Matthew R. Anderson, serving in the National Guard as a Military Police Officer. Second Lieutenant Jonathan Bautista, serving active duty as a Field Artillery Officer. Second Lieutenant Cameron M. Collins, serving in the National Guard as an Ordnance Officer. Second Lieutenant Stephen A. Gonzalez, serving in the National Guard as a Quartermaster Officer. Second Lieutenant Leonti M. Galindo, serving in the National Guard as a Chemical Officer. Second Lieutenant William J. Houts, serving in the National Guard as an Infantry Officer. Second Lieutenant Benjamin S. King, serving in the National Guard as an Engineer Officer. Second Lieutenant Seth J. Madden, serving in the National Guard as an Ordnance Officer. Second Lieutenant Jordan I. Martin, serving in the National Guard as a Quartermaster Officer. Second Lieutenant Jeremiah L. Norman, serving active duty as a Chemical Officer. Second Lieutenant Sarah E. Obermeyer, serving in the National Guard as a chemical officer. Second Lieutenant Faith A. Okonlawan, serving in the National Guard as a transportation officer. And Second Lieutenant Nicholas S. Sakos, serving in the National Guard as a transportation officer. Please give a round of applause to the Army's newest second lieutenants. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join us in the singing of the Army song. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the retiring of the colors.
March time. March. Colors. Halt. Right turn. March. Preset. Arms. Order. Arms. Tree. Colors. Left turn, march. Forward, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Fall 2024 University of North Georgia's Boar's Head Brigade Commissioning and Recognition Ceremony. We thank everyone for attending and look forward to your support and presence at the commencement and graduation events this weekend. Please join us for a reception at the Alumni House following this ceremony. All NSLT graduates and second lieutenants, please remain on stage for group photos. Friends and family are welcome to remain to take photos as well. Please give one last round of applause for our new second lieutenants and graduates of the NSLT track.